Hello, and welcome to Distant Echoes, New Mexico Bonus 1, the Requerimiento. This is just the bonus episode mentioned in episode 9, where I give a full reading of the Requerimiento. There's no analysis or anything, it's just a straight reading. There are several places to get a translated copy of the Requerimiento. I specifically pulled the translation I'll be reading from Wikipedia, but I closely tracked the other translations that I found. The text in full reads, quote, "On behalf of the King, Don Fernando, and of Doña Juana I, his daughter, Queen of Castile and Leon, subduers of the barbarous nations, we, their servants, notify and make known to you, as best we can, that the Lord our God, living and eternal, created the heaven and the earth, and one man and one woman, of whom you and we, all of the men of the world at the time, were and are descendants, and all those who came after and before us. But on account of the multitude, which has sprung from this man and woman in the 5,000 since the world was created, it was necessary that some men should go one way and some another, and that they should be divided into many kingdoms and provinces, for in one alone they could not be sustained. Of all these nations, God our Lord gave charge to one man, called Saint Peter, that he should be Lord and superior of all the men in the world, that all should obey him, and that he should be the head of the whole human race, wherever men should live, and under whatever law, sect, or belief they should be. And he gave him the world for his kingdom and jurisdiction. And he commanded him to place his seat in Rome, as the spot most fitting to rule the world from. But it also permitted him to have his seat in any other part of the world, and to judge and govern all Christians, Moors, Jews, Gentiles, and all other sects. This man was called Pope, as if to say, admirable great father and governor of men. The men who lived in that time obeyed that Saint Peter, and then took him for Lord King and Superior of the universe. So also they have regarded the others who came after him have been elected to the pontificate. And so has it been continued even till now, and will continue until the end of the world. One of these pontiffs, who succeeded that Saint Peter as Lord of the world, in the dignity and seat which I have before mentioned, made donation to these isles and terra firme, to the aforesaid King and Queen, and to their successors, our lords. With all that there are in these territories, as is contained in certain writings, which passed upon the subject as aforesaid, which you can see if you wish. So their highnesses are kings and lords of these islands and of the land of terra firme, by virtue of this donation. And some islands, and indeed almost all those to whom this has been notified, have received and served their highnesses as lords and kings, in the way that subjects ought to do, with good will, without any resistance, immediately, without delay, when they were informed of the aforesaid facts. And also they received and obeyed the priests, whom their highnesses sent to preach to them and teach them our holy faith. And all these, of their own free will, without any reward or condition, have become Christians, and are so. And their highnesses have joyfully and benignantly received them, and also have commanded them to be treated as their subjects and vassals. And you too are held and obliged to do the same. Wherefore, as best we can, we ask and require that you consider what we have said to you, that you take the time that shall be necessary to understand and deliberate upon it, and that you acknowledge the Church as the ruler and superior of the whole world, and the high priest called Pope, and in his name the King and Queen Doña Juana as our lords, in his place, as superiors and lords and kings of these islands and this terra firme, by virtue of the said donation, that you consent and give place that these religious fathers should declare and preach to you aforesaid. If you do so, you will do well, and that which you are obliged to do to their highnesses, and we in their name shall receive you in all love and charity, and shall leave you, your wives, and your children, and your lands, free without servitude, that you may do with them and with yourselves freely that which you like and think best, and they shall not compel you to turn Christian, unless you yourselves, when informed of the truth, should wish to be converted to our holy Catholic faith, as almost all inhabitants of the rest of the islands have done. And, besides this, their highnesses will award you with many privileges and exemptions, and will grant you many benefits. But if you do not do this, and maliciously make delay in it, I certify to you that, with the help of God, we shall powerfully enter into your country, and shall make war against you in all ways and manners that we can, and shall subject you to the yoke of obedience to the Church and of their highnesses. We shall take you and your wives and your children, and shall make slaves of them, and as such shall sell and dispose of them as their highnesses may command. And we shall take away your goods, and shall do you all the mischief and damage that we can, as to vassals who do not obey, and refuse to receive their lord, and resist and contradict him. And we protest that the deaths and losses which shall accrue from this are your fault, and not that of their highnesses, or ours, nor of these cavaliers who come with us, and that we have said this to you, and made this requisition. We request that the notary here present to give us his testimony in writing, and we ask that the rest who are present, that they should be witnesses of this requisition. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with your friends. Leave a review on your podcast app of choice if it lets you. Since I'm a Luddite and don't use social media, word of mouth and reviews are the only way the show spreads. We have a website located at engineeringfire.org. That's spelled ENGINEERINGFIRE.org, where I have a link in the header for podcast resources, including pictures, companion posts, my bibliography, and the transcripts of each show. We have an email you can submit comments and questions to at michael@engineeringfire.org. The intro music is Desperados by Frank Schroeder and sourced from filmmusic.io. The outro music is NeoWestern from Kevin McLeod of Incompetech. Links to all things mentioned are present in the show notes and at the website. And thank you all so much for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.